Again,
parasites that are on your, like when you buy bulbs and stuff like that, dipping it in a diluted solution of bleach is not going to protect it from any parasites that might be carried on it, right?
I don't believe so. That I'm not sure about that, but as far as I know, I've never heard that actually.
I know it kills germs and stuff like that, but I didn't know, how you never know if something's on a bulb.
Right.
But it won't hurt the bulb, right?
It might.
It might.
It might. I mean, like you said, the bleach is natural, but think about it. Bleach is a very caustic substance. Arsenic is natural.
I always dilute the bleach.
So
I'm a big fan of bleach.
you do, yeah. You have to.
I'm a
dilute
big,
it, right?
because it eventually turns into natural salts. So I'm a big fan of it, but, just because it might be good for one thing.
Right.
And I didn't know if using it on a plant, because I remember back in the olden days, they used to tell you to take isopropyl alcohol and dilute it with water and spray your plant because it kills a lot of the aphids, but it doesn't hurt the plant. But I thought to myself, that's not really drying.
If you're looking for something to do that's a little less invasive as far as chemicals, if you have aphids, you can put tin. It sounds kind of silly, but tin foil, like in a little plate, like around the bottom of the plant. It reflects the sun up to the bottom of the leaves, and the aphids don't like it.
Just aphids, or are there other things that don't like that?
I think it's just the aphids, but they don't like it. So if you have a little shrub out in front of your yard, and you put just a little circle of tin foil that reflects the sun up onto the underside of the leaves, that will help get the aphids out. They don't like it. And again, the ladybugs. I love the ladybugs, but they do tend to congregate in the fall in your house, so you just have to be patient with them.
Just give them oranges and they'll be happy.
You let them sit there, they hibernate, and in the spring they go away.
So there's nothing I can put around my bulb flowers to protect them from all the creatures that love to eat them, right?
Not exactly. Depends on what bulbs you're planting.
Tulips.
Most creatures love tulips,
Yeah.
but they don't like daffodils.
No, I have a ton of daffodils. Nothing eats a daffodil.
Right, but if you bordered daffodils in front of the tulips, you might be able to prevent them from coming to the tulips. It might get you like a first line of defense. They get there and there are the daffodils. Oh, I'm not eating this, and away they go. And they don't even know that your tulips are there. So,
okay.
So kind of a companion planting thing. So you have.
That was the other thing I was going to ask, the companion planting thing. If that actually works with some, flowers with veggies.
I know marigolds can help deter certain bugs in your garden, so a lot of people.
But not woodland creatures that we eat.
No, more so the insects. But we do. There are some plants that deer don't like, and so they don't want to come near it. And mostly it's things like deer if you plant it, but. In the case of corn, if you've got corn or apple trees, you really need a fence. Although there's one other really good deterrent for mammalian type of things that ruin your yard, and that's a dog. A dog that runs outside and chases things. Totally different approach, but I know when we had a dog, it kept the voles and the moles hated her. And if she went away anywhere for any length of time, we had mountains everywhere, little mounds everywhere in the yard. The minute she came back, they were gone. And she kept geese down. She kept turkeys out of the yard. So a dog can be a helpful tool if you have a really, one that loves to run around outside. That they can cause other problems too. But that can definitely help keep critters out of your garden. I've also seen on the barrier method, or if you, we don't have a lot of rabbits in New Hampshire, but we do have a lot of burrowing and tunneling things. The moles, the voles, and things like that.
Woodchucks.
Yeah, we have good-sized woodchucks. And if you have a garden and you have a fence around it, you could take it's not chicken wire, but it is more like a landscape wire fencing. And you dig that down about a foot to a foot and a half below ground. Put that around under your fence, and then have your fence go up around it, and that will prevent the tunneling things. And you could even do that if you have a specific tulip bed. You could do that the little guys from getting in there, because I know the chipmunks and the squirrels just love tulips. They love to
Everything does. That's why I was wondering if I could coat the tulip with something. But I'll try. I have a lot of daffodils. I'll just break them up and put the tulips in the center and make a fairy ring of daffodils, and
yeah,
maybe
that probably will help. I know I don't grow a lot of tulips at the moment, but where I do have a little bit, I have daffodils in front of them, and I fully expected them to be gone this year, and they came back. So I was kind of surprised.
Oh, okay.
I think the daffodils are kind of, maybe it's the smell. I don't know what it is about daffodils, but they don't. The little things, the little critters just don't like them. So if you don't mind having the daffodils and then the tulips, it could be very pretty. so, do you have any other?
no. Well, yeah. Don't worry. I'll stop in 2 seconds.
That's okay. Keep going.
Okay. Since I got frustrated with planting stuff in the ground, this year I just got those shepherd's crooks, and I planted a lot of things because they're, you know, the cucumbers and the tomatoes and stuff like that, and I let it go down, so that was good. Getting worms and putting it in there, would that help the plant anymore?
I don't
It doesn't,
think so.
like,
it's in just a small container.
so it really,
So
okay.
I don't think the worm really, I mean, he's only got so much space to go,
Yeah.
and only so many nutrients to eat and pass through and make his castings, so.
All right, so it doesn't aerate it, make it better for the, okay.
No, not for such a short season, but having the worms in a big plot would, you know, they're digging and making frass and all that sort of thing. So they'll be making the soil healthier, but in a container, not so much, so.
The tick population. Other than pesticides, because, like I said, I have songbirds, and pesticides aren't even a question.
No,
You know,
no,
There's no way to deter them or,
Can you get guinea hens a year?
well, no, we have a lot of wild turkeys.
They
Guinea hens
will
go
eat them.
after.
And we
They
have a
love to
neighbor
run.
who has free-range guinea hens.
Okay.
And they will eat them, so.
Yeah.
And they
So
haven't
your
eaten yet.
birds, and even
Yeah.
your songbirds might be eating a few of them.
A few of them, but there's no way for me to, because I can't get out to my garden because, you know, it's like,
That's a lot
I
of
cover up.
I cover up, but, you know, it's like, I
I
feel
put on
like,
my bee suit half the time to
Yeah.
keep the bugs off.
That really is about.
so there's no way,
If you're looking to get rid of them without using chemicals, it's really a matter of the natural predators, the hens and the turkeys.
yeah, we have those.
And if they still can't control it, the only other way you can get rid of them is by keeping the mice population down. Because they like to be on mice and they come.
Also-
And deer ticks also live on mice. So we had a cold winter last year, and that helps to keep the mice population down. So last summer, the ticks were even worse. So I don't know if you
It
experienced that.
just seems like
They
the worst in certain parts, they're actually worse in certain parts of my land. I don't have that much land,
Mhm.
but it's like in the back where it's hotter, they're worse than in the front where there's more shade. And that didn't make sense because I thought they didn't like the heat.
I don't know about that.
So it was like, okay.
But they do, I mean, they do have natural predators. And obviously, you
We got them.
could probably spray yourself down with DEET, which wouldn't affect your birds, it just affects you.
Yeah.
But that's if you are comfortable putting that on, or finding an all-natural insect repellent to keep them off of you. You may not be able to keep them,
Well,
say,
see-
like off a pet, unless you used
See,
a.
but that's my other question is, all the plants that are in the all natural pesticides, whatever, if you plant those in your soil, will that deter some of the creatures that you don't want?
You're not putting any pesticides in anything.
No. You know how
Or
when you
natural
go down to
pesticide.
like one of your, any of your garden stores and they have the all natural
Mhm.
with no DEET in it, it's all natural, certain plants, you know. If you plant that in your garden, will that work the same way as
As in a chemical?
what, if the thing you spray on you, the all natural one, that
Okay.
has
Like citronella plant?
citronella, but it's like rosemary, I think peppermint's another one, cinnamon is another one.
So you're asking, I'm
If you
still, I'm
plant-
struggling with the question, I'm
If
sorry.
you plant some of these herbs that
Okay.
you would use an all-natural spray to keep
Okay.
the bugs off of you, will it work in the same way for your plants?
Oh, I don't know that I would want to spray that on my plants. I don't know.
No, she's saying plant the plants, right?
Plant the plants.
Plant the plants, that they use
Yeah.
to produce the,
It should, because if it's keeping like,
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, wormwood was very big to keep away certain pests and bugs. And that should work that way, yes, that's part of the companion planting.
Okay.
You know, if you wanted to try something that you felt was working, you could certainly do it. I know rosemary's a big one, and the peppermint, like you said. Those types of plants, they have oil, they have smell, and it does deter certain pests. So you could certainly try to put those in your garden in
Yeah.
different spots to see if they're keeping certain bugs away.
My last question, and then I'll shut up, is,
Sure.
okay, bittersweet. I'll go to my grave screaming bittersweet instead of rosebud. But bittersweet and this, I don't know what this other vine is, that is like bringing down all the trees. It's like rampant, you'll see it on the side of the road. And it's not
Oh,
bittersweet. And it's like they're literally tearing the trees down. You can't keep it. Is there
it's so invasive
anything?
vine, it just gets
Ah.
so thick and so heavy.
It
They kill
gets-
the trees,
It's
Yeah.
killing, it's killing everything.
yeah.
The only thing you can
Constantly
probably
fill
do if you're not, and I know, the
I'm
bittersweet's
cutting
really
it, but
tough. You can pull it out and pull it out and pull it out, and it still doesn't stop.
Yeah.
There's
And
nothing you can put on it other than a pesticide or something to kill it?
not that I'm aware of. Let me find that one out for you.
No, because that really is like, it's driving, the
Yeah.
bittersweet's bad enough.
And that
Bittersweet
is
is like,
very, very invasive and very difficult to get rid of.
you know,
It's
but this
a
other
problem.
thing that's on the side of the roads, and everybody's seen it, and it's like, it climbs up the telephone poles,
All over my house.
it's all over your house, you can't control it. It's not bindweed, that's for sure.
Constantly.
Some of those things, yeah, they are very difficult to get rid of outside of spraying the heck out of them with Roundup or something like that, you know, and I know it's hard to, you don't want to do that, but at the same time, is it going to, how much is it going to impact what you have? Is it invading your garden? Is it killing your trees?
It's
You know,
killing everything,
Yeah, you might,
and it's blowing transformers because it's going up all the telephone poles.
I don't know if the states have anything that they're going to do about that.
But it's everywhere, you'll
but
see it
in
on
your
all sides of
home,
the roads.
And the only thing I can think of outside of chemicals that you could do is to try and pull it out. It's the same with poison ivy, you know, you pull that out and it comes right
So
back.
rock salt doesn't work on any of this.
I think a lot of these plants are used to it or they wouldn't be growing there. You know, the salt is, if it's salt on the road, it's already there, it's not killing it. So there are some invasive species, if you go down south and you ever see like kudzu,
Yeah.
there's nothing they can do. It's just, even really harsh chemicals, there's nothing, it just is taken over. And you see whole mountainsides that are just,
Maybe this is what this is, I don't know.
oh, I hope
This
not.
is, thing is, it's horrible, it's like you cannot, and it grows so fast. You cannot control it, it's just maddening.
And it doesn't, I'm not sure I know what you're talking
Oh,
about.
trust me, when you leave here,
Mhm.
and you're going back towards Hooksett, there's this tree there that's like bare, like this, and that vine is growing up it.
Hmm.
It grows
It's
up
almost like
everything.
it strangles them.
It strangles the plants.
Well, I know that there's another thing, and I
She knows.
do think it's banned in New Hampshire, maybe in the United States, and it's mistletoe, and that'll do the same thing.
No,
No, I don't think it's that,
No,
because it's not
it
supposed to be
doesn't-
here.
it's not that leaf at all, it's no.
But you have this all around your house and your garden?
No, it's
So
everywhere on the side of the
No,
road.
I know you said your house, so it just, you know what, the best thing you could do
It
is
is
to
horrible.
take some photos and just call the hotline and ask if you can email them the photos and send them photos of it and ask them what it is and how do I get rid of it without spraying it with Roundup. You know, I don't.
Because most of these vines, if you tear it up,
They do
it
have
just,
their-
gazillion more
Oh, the
comes
roots are
up.
in the ground. The
Yeah, the
roots
roots are
are
there.
everywhere, even just like a crown vetch is the same way. It's
Yeah.
just, you can't get rid of it. It's just, it's there, you just keep pulling.
Crown vetch doesn't bother me.
That one I have issues with in my garden. I pull it like it's a thread. And
It is a
just keeps
thread.
coming and coming and coming, and then you come back 2 weeks later and there it is again. And I thought I got that whole thread out of there, but it doesn't, it comes back. Other than the pesticides, the chemical pesticides, I'm not sure there's something you can do to get rid of that, other than pulling and pulling and pulling.
But if I go to this national plant,
They may be able
diagnostic.
to tell you as well.
I might be able to find what it is, and then they'll be able to tell you what you can do to get rid of it, or just identify the
They
plant.
will identify it, and they may have some tips, but you should be able to identify.
And then if I
it.
like call the extension or go online to the UNH extension, agricultural, do they have like pointers?
If you call the hotline,
Yeah.
they should be able to help you. And what might happen is you might get somebody who says, I don't have an answer for you right now, email me a photo, I'll tell you, what it is, and they will get back to you. They're very good about returning the emails or phone calls, and they will tell you what's going on in your yard or your garden. And that goes for pests, that goes for, plants. If you have a plant that all of a sudden has some funny looking spot on it, you don't know what it is, they'll help you with that too. Or just, how do I get the neighbor's dog to stop coming into my garden? All of those things, so.
Well, everybody's been complaining about Danny and his free-range guinea hens, and I'm going, well, we have foxes, so poor guinea hens, Danny's like smart, he realizes the guinea hens, and he's next to a swampy area, so.
Oh, yeah.
Well, those guinea hens are dinner for somebody else too, so if you have foxes,
Yeah, he does.
they just have to be careful. So, but the hens are pretty good for that kind of control, ticks and grubs and all those sorts of bugs. They love that stuff. So, hopefully, I don't know, are they layers? Are they egg layers or are they meat chickens? What's he gonna do with them? Your neighbor?
I think he just,
Probably just for the bug control. That's what we did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just,
Not my guineas.
He's not gonna
They're
eat
still
them.
cool, but-
he's not gonna eat them, that's for sure. No, really, the
No,
pets.
yeah, a lot of
I
people
think
do
he
just
just
for
did
pest
it.
control.
I'm not sure he did. Danny's unique, he's a unique person.
and it works, it depends, like I said, you're never gonna eradicate it, but you can get it down to an acceptable level that you can live with. Because those ticks aren't going away, they're gonna be there forever. And, but you can get it down to the point where when you go out in the yard, you're not coming back covered in ticks. So,
I just didn't know if we can interrupt the life cycle somewhere along, like you said with the Japanese beetle, if there's a life cycle, and if there's one point where we can,
kind of find something natural.
yeah, because when the vet told me that when it's 40 degrees and above, you have ticks. We have ticks in the middle of the winter time and people don't even realize it. It's awful.
They kind of, you can tell by the winter.
They're getting hardier.
And those mice, like last year we had no winter, that previous winter. It was like that snowstorm in October,
Yeah.
and then there was nothing. And the tick population, at least where I was, it just soared because we had mice galore. The mice did not die. This year we had a lot of dead mice and that. But again, like you said, you don't want your songbirds to interfere. I have cats and I have one that's a mouser. I don't want her eating poison mice. You gotta be careful. So you have to be really careful with what you're putting out and where it goes. And it is that way with the mice. The mice will die off. The ticks might die a little bit too. Even though they're deer ticks and dog ticks, and they die down a little bit. But we've had them this year too. We've had several of them. It seems like every time you go to mow the line, you come in with one of them and you just kind of pull it off gently and kill it. So
I guess I'll start spraying myself with toxic.
well, let me take your.
Well, my
Birds will
clothing.
be okay.
What?
The birds will be
The
okay.
birth, no, I have a turtleneck and sweatpants. I'll spray the outside of that with the deep and I'll go
Well,
over
let me
later.
take down some of your questions that I don't have answers for, and then if I give them to you, Matt, is there a place you post them on your website or something? And that way you can check back and find out.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, we could do a follow-up, or if Cora has email, you might be able to email her
Yeah.
questions, yeah.
I'm sure that my problems are like everybody else's problems.
Well, that's, you know, if you're asking
That
a
weed
question,
thing is just-
everyone else has it somewhere on their mind anyway.
That
They're all
vine thing is
thinking
just.
it. So, I hope I helped
Oh,
answer
yeah,
some
yeah, well, no, 'cause
some of them.
there's always these myths surrounding certain natural things you can do. It's like, why waste your time? It's not really gonna work.
Mother Earth News is also a really good resource for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And the library subscribes to that, so you can
Yeah.
borrow it upstairs.
yeah, maybe I'll
Great
start.
magazine.
I used to get that ages back when, maybe I should start reading it again.
There are a lot of natural remedies out there. You just have to be aware that it may not work.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that people write into that magazine, I've tried them, like, well, it doesn't work so well for me, I either did something wrong, or they weren't complete with the
Exactly.
instructions. But a lot of the stuff does work, like, I've got a little recipe now for powdery mildew that I'm almost hoping it'll show up so I can try it. No, very, very natural.
You're ready for it.
Yeah.
But that's good that you know what's working, as opposed to, I'm just gonna take this and mix it up, because you could end up with something that destroys your plants. And
Mhm.
then, this is something, because let's face it, plants are not cheap. When you're doing a garden, whether it's a vegetable garden you're doing from seeds, or whether it's ornamental, you have an investment there, not only your money, but your time. And you wanna make sure that you're getting a return on all of that time and effort that you put in. So it's good to be able to keep things to a minimum so you don't lose a lot of things, trees, shrubs, and your produce.
Is there any kind of like a warning service that the UNH Extension provides to like let you know what bugs are spotted and send you an email or something
It's
like that?
kind of funny you ask that, because when I went in the other day, they gave me the blight and they gave me the Japanese beetles information. And 2 days later, my garden club, somebody said, oh, hey, blight's been spotted, and it went out like wildfire. At this point, I don't know that they have an alert system, but you can regularly, if you check their website, they do post those things out.
Okay, so that would be the method, just to
Yes,
check the website once a week or something
Right,
and
you have to
see.
go to their website, the extension website, and check it,
Okay.
and they'll have like the news and what's happening out there. Not just, there's a ton of workshops you can attend, but then in addition, oh hey, emerald ash borer was spotted up in Concord, and we need some people to come up and take a look and see if we can find it. So, but those, you can check the website frequently, and that should help get the word out. And then through your local garden clubs, and and as at the library, I don't know if you post those things here to show people what's going on in the area. So, any other questions? I know you have one.
No, you would help me out tremendously.
You're thinking it.
No, no, thank you guys for letting me run it very well, because these things have been driving me crazy.
It's very,
And I still don't understand how beer gets rid of slugs.
Oh, I'm supposed to ask
They like that.
I think
They
they do like that, but you know what, there's other things you can do. If the beer isn't working for you, they like it if you put cardboard or something, or an old shingle down in the garden, and they'll climb underneath it, and you can just kind of turn it over and pick them off. Aphids like a yellow, they're attracted to yellow. So if you get a bowl and it's yellow, like a plastic bowl, and you fill it with water and a little Dawn soap, they will go in there too, and that can help get rid of them. But the slugs, there must be some sugar or something in the beer that they like.
It makes it exist.
It could
Do they
be
get drunk and they
just
just drown? Because they climb up anything. So no, I can't quite understand the idea that they climb in there, but they can't climb out. Because
I don't think they're getting drunk, they probably just drown. They get in there and they like the smell, because I don't think they taste, but they can smell something, I don't know. But beer is a very common
does.
remedy that seems to work for people with slugs. So I haven't had that issue yet.
Crushed eggshells too, a non-invasive plant, I think. They call over and cut some, I heard. I haven't tried it, but I've read it.
Okay. Crushed eggshells, I think, work also. Is that the other one? There was something for, putting it at the base of the plant also can deter some certain pests. I can't remember if it was aphids or beetles. But there's definitely a benefit to that too. Plus, they rot eventually, and they put a little extra nutrition back in your soil too.
Okay, I just thought of another thing that I was gonna ask you before, but I didn't want to interrupt you when you were giving it. When you clean up your utensils, your
Yes.
bleach, does it matter what you're washing it off with to get, because you said you didn't want to transfer one fungal thing to another?
Right. You could do a diluted bleach solution,
Yeah,
or, you mentioned before, isopropyl alcohol.
that would work,
Or
right?
peroxide, hydrogen peroxide, would probably also kill any of the possible infectious diseases. But you do want to clean them because, like I said, you can
Yeah,
go
so-
from, if you're pruning something especially, you're pruning and you've got sharp cuts going into the plants, you don't want to transfer any possible diseases that way.
And Mortine,
Mm-hmm.
borax, does that work for anything? No, really,
It's
no,
great
I
for
mean,
your
they use it.
laundry.
No, they use that for,
I
like you
have-
said, the baking soda thing, they've used it for like a lot of things to deter a lot of creatures, but does it work? I've never tried it.
I don't know. I would have to find some research to back that
No,
up.
because I use it for laundry, and it really does work for laundry, by the way.
It does.
That's great.
Read the insert on the baking soda. They have done research, university research, and they've had some success with that.
With the baking
And
soda.
so, yes, and that, obviously, that's pretty natural. And there's different types of baking soda, different carbonates that you can get, potassium, sodium.
So you know that one.
There's just different types of carbonates you can get that will deter pests. So that little handout's very helpful. So,
Thank you.
Take a
I'm
read.
sorry.
and visit the extension website. And if you have questions that you really are stumped on, feel free to call. I don't know, well, yeah, it should have been in that little packet. There should have been a little, like a bookmark with the phone number for the Co-op Extensions Call Center. And there are people there, I don't know the hours, but there are people there that are all master gardeners. And then the person that heads it actually is a bug specialist. So she knows a lot about pests and pest control and doing those sorts of things. So that's it.
Any suggestions for mosquitoes too? We have them so bad in the backyard, we can't even go out and enjoy our backyard.
Well, the first thing, do you have a pond?
No, just a lot of woods, maybe a little bit swampy back there, but we really don't use any pesticides or anything like that.
Okay, 'cause
I don't know if there's any,
The best,
Like
the
those
easiest
loggers.
control for that is to not have standing water.
Yeah.
So if you have pots that are sitting out there or low spots in the yard that let, water accumulate, that would be one thing to start. All of those contractions that you can plug in and buy, the mosquito magnets, that kind of thing, they have attractants, and those are mating attractants, and those bugs, and I'm not promoting mosquito magnet, just that type of a thing. They will lure the mosquitoes in, it's a trap. They get stuck in the trap, they can't come out. They will, it will eventually kill off that population of mosquitoes, because the mosquitoes are territorial. They don't like to leave a certain area.
oh, really?
They don't travel miles like a bee. I think their territory is like 9 miles, but a mosquito doesn't like to go too far. So if you have one of those, and I know they're expensive, but if you get something along those lines, they do kind of help control the mosquito population without sprays and things like that. And it could spray, you could fog, you could spray. There's all kinds of things to do. And some of those mosquitoes are really, really hardy.
Yeah.
They don't care, and they just keep coming back. And I know, it does make your yard less enjoyable. But there are the torches you can do with the citronella oil and the candles. All of those sorts of things will help a little bit. Dragonflies, you can't just go buy dragonflies, but the more you can encourage dragonflies, the better it is, because they love mosquitoes. And the other thing that likes to eat mosquitoes is probably something you may not want to have around, but it is all natural, and it's bats.
That's what we're fine too, yeah.
So if you got a back house and put it up high on a tree or a house or a barn or something near your property, they like to eat bugs too.
How do you get dragonflies to want to be
Yeah,
here?
how do you encourage them?
I believe there are certain flowers that they're attracted to and colors, but they will. I had a friend that had one of those attractive contraptions, and she said she started using it, and she came home at night and the field was just covered in dragonflies. So she actually said it was beautiful, but you know, if you see the dragonflies, they don't hurt them. They're there to help.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look that up.
They're definitely there to help, but I believe there are some flower and shrubs that they are attracted to as well. They're not really a nectar bug, but they might enjoy, you know, certain habitats. So see what you can do to encourage the natural predators, the ladybugs, the praying mantis, or
And if you don't have bats in your area, putting a bat house will attract a bat.
You need to get that attractant and put it in there.
you have
Yeah.
the sign offerings.
People have built bat houses, but nothing goes in them because
Yeah.
Is it
you
like
don't have
something you
bats
get
in
at
your area.
Agway or something, like that sort of thing? Is it
Sometimes, I actually picked one up at an unfinished furniture shop down in Stratham, I think, but I did put a attractant in it, so now it's got spiders. I gotta go in and,
Oh,
Yeah,
I have to take care of that, I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah. But that's another, okay, we could try that.
But if you have bats, if you even just see like a couple flying around and you put a house up, it will encourage.
Yeah, I've seen them at like Lowe's and Home Depot,
Yeah.
in the garden section, so they've become a lot more common.
Okay, I'll have to check.
Now, what is that attractant?
If you get an attractant, it's just, it'll be like a little pheromone thing that you stick up in there and then
Like a
they'll
little
stop.
disc, maybe?
Yeah, a disc,
Yeah,
maybe
it-
something.
That's the same with the beetles.
Yeah.
That's what it is. The beetle trap is another pheromone type of thing that attracts them. Come on over.
Now, we did
This is
that once,
mating
and we killed a lot of Japanese
But I
beetles.
feel like they pulled it from the neighbor's
Yeah,
yard
yes.
too, like I feel like they
It's
came from
attracted into our yard.
more into our yard.
Well, they do need to be downwind of wherever
Wherever
wherever you are. So if you're down, if you put it upwind of your things and downwind of your neighbor's things, it brought all your neighbors up in. So you might not have had it in the right place or something, or you may have just gotten a whole lot of bugs in that trap. So, but it's the
Still came
same
back.
thing. It's a little disc, it goes inside and it smells good to them, and once they get in, they can get out.
It's a similar thing to that thing. Then.
It's very similar.
Huh.
So, and I know that the all-natural and organic and less chemicals we use is becoming very, it's encouraged and it's something that people are really looking for.
Well,
I really don't want to have the
I mean,
chemicals.
you don't want your songbirds affected. I've got bees and chickens, I don't want them eating it,
Exactly.
you know, and I don't want the bees to die, so.
Yeah, and the bees are pollinating everything, so it's not just the bees and the honey.
Right.
And the wax, it's everything in your
Everything.
garden.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's something you want to make sure that is good and clean.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, there's a lot of pesticides out there that are by license only. So that tells you they're gonna be pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, did you hear about the massive bee kill in Oregon?
I did.
Yeah.
They had sprayed the trees with something.
Ornamental trees
and
too,
the
not fruit
bees-
trees.
They sprayed them for something else, and the bees came in to pollinate. and
Yeah, because they were flowering and they
And
were following the
they-
directions among other
They
things.
should not have sprayed
Yeah.
while they were flowering. You don't
Yeah.
want to you just killed all your pollinators. That's huge
Yeah.
because the honeybee population right now is suffering. So they really, didn't help themselves out there. So I think you're right. I think somebody wasn't giving the directions and sprayed it too late and lost a whole, they
All
went out and they
trees.
found, I think it was just tons of dead bees.
It's like
and
25,000 bees is what they were estimating.
Yeah, that was,
To the point that they put it, Oregon anyway, has temporarily put a ban up for those particular family chemicals.
well, I will say this, from the classes that I've taken, the pesticide usage in New Hampshire is very, very tightly regulated.
Yeah.
There's really not a lot that you can buy and use that it's all very, even like the Roundups and things like that are fairly mild compared to a lot of places.
Mhm.
So, we have groundwater, so many of us are not on city water, we're on well
Yes.
water, and you really don't want all that stuff in your
Well,
system.
that's another thing, I have well water, so it's like
Yeah.
the whole,
You want
Well,
to,
I
you
feel
just
like
want
all
to
of this too is education. When you get into gardening, if you don't know a lot, you just think you commercial, and a lot of people just go get Roundup, clean all of that stuff, because it's what they see, they don't know, until you
Yeah.
start getting into the practice and realize.
I mean, the
it's
other
hard,
watch out,
because it's so sold to you, you know?
exactly. And the other watch out I found out a couple of years ago is those treated seeds that they sell now, because the chemicals get into the seed.
Like the grass seed and stuff.
Right, the
that's
grass seed or the
insulated
vegetables,
yeah.
and it still kills the bees, it's in the food, the vegetables that you grow from now, it's,
Well,
It's
coated so that it,
yeah,
so that it comes up really fast, or
Right.
so that it retains water and moisture, so that
Mhm.
it doesn't dry out and die, so they still
Right.
treat it and coat it.
yeah.
So, and there's a lot of those in the market.
Yeah, it's very hard to not get
To
those.
avoid it, yeah.
If you go to your local Agway, you've got one in Brookside, right?
I was
It's-
great, I
it's,
love
yeah,
them.
They usually have a lot of alternatives to all, they have all of the normal commercial things, but they seem to have a lot of alternatives
There's
too.
a whole row of organic and pest control and stuff like that.
Well, like I said, for home gardeners, it's becoming important. You aren't growing a vast acreage of whatever, corn or soybeans or tomatoes. I used to live in Miami, and you would see the tomato grows giant down there. This is huge, and everything is treated. Or you have a pick your own in the middle of the city. My husband always used to say, do you really want to eat the strawberries from there, all that exhaust coming from the cars every day? Do you really want those berries? You know, so there are a lot of commercial growers that use their treatment, that kind of treatment, because that's what they have to do to economically make a viable crop. As a home gardener, you get to be a little bit more picky. You get to decide what goes in your soil, what goes into your plants, what seeds you use, because now you can buy organic seeds. You don't have to buy, just plain old seeds. You can buy organic treated or not treated seeds.
That's what I was gonna ask you, the disease-resistant seeds that you're buying that are fruit and veggies or whatever, are those coated with pesticides?
Not necessarily.